Hey, greetings everyone. Lieutenant Colonel Alan West, and welcome to the Steadfast and Loyal program.
You gotta light 'em up before they burn it down. Better dig deep, put 'em in the ground. Blood on their hands, they're hellbound. Save us all. Ooh, they're gonna burn it down. Save us all before they burn it down.
Hey, greetings everyone. Lieutenant Colonel Alan West here. The question about the next stock market crash isn't a matter of if, but really a matter of when. There are just too many signs that we are on the edge of some really tough economic times. We've got war on multiple fronts, movement away from the U.S. dollar on the international stage, a weakened job market, and a recent surge in stock prices that isn't really backed by anything other than investor overconfidence. What's going on right now just isn't sustainable, and when it starts to crumble, it could all come down very, very fast. When the next stock market crash comes, wouldn't you rather be a week or a month too early rather than even a minute too late? That's why my friends at United Patriot Coin are offering to help Americans rebalance their portfolios and prepare for the coming market crash by investing in precious metals. They've always been able to help you protect your liquid assets, but now they can help with funds in your IRA or 401k retirement account also. There is a little-known law that allows Americans to own physical precious metals inside of an official IRA account. This isn't gold stocks or shares in some random mining company. We're actually talking about actual gold and silver coins and bars. The metals you put in your IRA are the exact same ones you will get out when you take a distribution. You can even buy and sell within your IRA without the messy tax issues you have with other transactions. The experts at United Patriot Coin can help you through the entire process, from opening and funding the account to selecting the best metals to put into it. Visit UnitedPatriotCoin.com, that's UnitedPatriotCoin.com, or call their office right here in the state of Texas at 844-202-7834. As a special bonus, tell them that Alan West, the old colonel, sent you, and they will cover your setup fees on qualifying accounts. God bless you all, steadfast and loyal. You know, there's a pretty significant emotional event coming up for me. As a matter of fact, those of you all listening to this program on iHeartRadio, I'll be getting ready to get on an airplane here at Dallas-Fort Worth and catch an American Airlines flight over to Charles de Gaulle Airport, Paris, France. Because next week, I get the opportunity to be in Normandy for the 80th anniversary remembrance of the greatest invasion that the world has ever known, Operation Overlord, D-Day. And what I wanted to do today was to share my thoughts, perspectives, and insights, to really let you all hear what it means to me. For a kid born 1961 in a blacks-only hospital in the inner city of Atlanta, Georgia, grew up in the same neighborhood as Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And 63 years later, he's getting the opportunity to put on a period uniform and jump into the drop zones of Normandy. How does that happen? I mean, when you think about all this talk we hear about America, it's just a racist nation. It's a horrible nation. Why would a young black man get an opportunity like this? How does a young black man get an opportunity like this? That's the real question we should be asking ourselves. You know, it's not about DEI. It's about what's in your heart. It's about the legacy that is created that we pass on from generation to generation. That's how Alan Bernard West, Lieutenant Colonel, United States Army, retired. master parachutist, air assault badge, Navy Marine Corps parachutist insignia, Italian parachutist wings, German proficiency badge, combat veteran. That's how you get to do something like this. But see, it starts in the home, as so many things do. Because I'm getting an opportunity not just to honor those men on that day, 6th of June, 1944, but I'm getting an opportunity to honor my dad. My dad was part of that greatest generation. My dad was born in 1920. And all of you little chuckleheads out there that are talking about America's racist and the man is keeping me down, it weren't fun being a black man down south born in 1920. But that's the legacy of my dad. The legacy of a man when he told me all these stories. When he sat down and he heard about what happened on the radio at Pearl Harbor, he didn't say, well, that's a white folk problem. I ain't got nothing to do with that. As a matter of fact, this past Memorial Day, I spoke at a ceremony down in Waco, Texas, at the VA hospital there. The VA hospital there in Waco, Texas is named after Dory Miller, a Navy Cross recipient from that day at Pearl Harbor, a black man who wasn't combat trained. He worked in the galley on the ship there. But you know something? When duty called, Dory Miller stepped up to an anti-aircraft machine gun. And he knocked out a couple of Japanese Zeros that were part of the attack there at Pearl Harbor. And so my dad, when the call came for him to serve, he didn't try to run away. He didn't try to, do the Heisman and push it off on someone else. He didn't look around and say, well, the United States of America don't treat me right, so let them go fight. And I'll just sit here. My dad stepped up to the plate. And he took the oath of office to support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic, to bear true faith and allegiance to the same. He took that obligation freely without any purpose of evasion or mental reservation, and off he went. He became a corporal in the United States Army. He served from North Africa to Sicily and into mainland Italy. See, that's the American story. That's what brings me to this moment in my life, because at the age of 15, my dad sat me down on the steps of his house. Because that greatest generation came back and they did things to set the conditions for us to have all types of economic successes. They built businesses, they built homes. They became the backbone of America. So sitting on the steps of his house, 651 Kennesaw Avenue, Northeast Atlanta, Georgia, 30308, and I still remember the dial phone number, 404-874-2836. He said to his middle son, Alan Bernard, 15 years of age at the time, that there was no greater honor than to wear the uniform of the United States of America. That's what my dad, a black man, born in 1920 in Ozark, Alabama, jumped the Chattahoochee River, grew up in South Georgia. That's what he told me. The same inspiring words somewhat that caused my older brother to join the United States Marine Corps and ship out to fight in Vietnam. But he was still an enlisted man, Lance Corporal. My dad wanted the first officer in the family. He wanted me to be a soldier. And that's what he inspired me to be. And in 1976, I started at high school junior ROTC, United States Army, there at Henry Grady High School. Of course, the woke culture got a hold of my high school. No longer is it called Henry Grady High School, it's Midtown High School now. That's what happens when we just want to go out there and change history, trying to make it relevant to today. But still, Henry Grady High School, high school, junior ROTC. And I can still tell you my junior ROTC instructors: Lieutenant Colonel Pagonis, Major Heredia, Master Sergeant Buchanan, Sergeant First Class McMichael. All four of those men had served this country in uniform, in combat, in the Korean and Vietnam War. They told me the stories about those who had given their lives, the ones that they had lost. Master Sergeant Buchanan was even a POW. And I'll never forget him showing us his arm, how it was severely mangled. He never recovered from the wounds that he had received, not just in combat, but also as a POW. See, that's legacy. When you have those type of men around you, like my dad. And oh, by the way, how many young black boys today don't have a dad in the home to tell them the stories of their exploits in uniform, to tell them and challenge them to be something? As the Army once said, be all you can be. You hear about how people on the left, they're not worried about educating our kids on history. They're not worried about educating our kids and so that they can do math and read at grade level. They'd like to get rid of high school, junior ROTC programs, the type of thing that made me who I am and got me on the path to where I am today. What if you had more young black men in the inner cities all across the United States of America that could have high school, junior ROTC instructors like I had? Maybe that would have made a difference in their lives. And so even though I had that dad who was a combat veteran, my formative years going to high school, I still had combat veterans in my life. And who would have ever thought that Cadet Lieutenant Colonel Allen West would go on to become United States Army Lieutenant Colonel Allen West? But that is the path that they set me on. Those four men, Lieutenant Colonel Pagonis, Major Heredia, Master Sergeant Buchanan, Sergeant First Class McMichael, they saw something in me that maybe I did not recognize or see in myself. My dad believed it was there. So on 31 July 1982 at the University of Tennessee in Knoxville, Stokely Athletic Center, the building may be gone, but the memories are still there. My dad stood at one shoulder, my mom stood at the other shoulder. And they pinned on the bars of a brand new Army second lieutenant, field artillery. I'd never seen my dad get water in his eyes before, but he did that day. Because he knew that I stepped up to the plate, his middle son, to accept the challenge that he gave to me to become the first officer in the family. And I did. And what was so interesting about being the first officer in the family and going out to field artillery school and doing well, making the commandant's list there, I got a premier assignment to the 325th Airborne Battalion Combat Team in Vicenza, Italy. My first tour of duty as a soldier was in the country of my dad's last tour of duty, Italy, in combat. See, that's what this day will mean for me. Being able to travel to France, not just honoring the paratroopers, but honoring my dad, who on Memorial Day I remember because he's buried in a national cemetery, Marietta National Cemetery, just north of our home in Atlanta. And Mom is there with him because as they were in life, so they are in passing. That's my dad's final duty station. And one day, it'll be my final duty station. But the bottom line is that the journey that I have had is because of the lessons and the legacy that Corporal Herman West Sr., United States Army, passed on to me.
Before they burn it down.